So let's begin with evolution. Evolutionary biology is the study of history of life forms on Earth. What exactly is evolution? To understand the changes in flora and fauna that have occurred over millions of years on Earth, we must have an understanding of the context of origin of life, evolution of Earth, of stars, and indeed of the universe itself. What follows is the longest of all the construed and conjectured stories. This is the story of origin of life and evolution of life forms or biodiversity on planet Earth in the context of evolution of Earth and against the background of evolution of universe itself. Origin of life. When we look at the stars in a clear night sky, we are, in a way, looking back at time. Stellar distances are measured in light years. What we see today is an object whose emitted light started its journey millions of years back and from trillions of kilometers away and reaching our eye now. However, when we see objects in the immediate surroundings, we see them instantly, and hence, in the present time, we are seeing them, and therefore, when we see stars, we are apparently peeping into the past. The origin of the universe, or the origin of life, is considered a unique event in the history of universe. The universe is vast, rigidly speaking. The Earth itself is almost only a speck. The universe is almost very old. It's about 20 billion years old. Huge clusters of galaxies comprises the universe. Galaxies contain stars and clouds of gas and dust. Considering the size of universe, Earth is indeed a speck. The Big Bang theory attempts to explain as the origin of universe. It talks of a single huge explosion, unimaginable in its own physical terms. The universe expanded and hence the temperatures came down. Hydrogen and helium formed sometime later. The gases condensed under gravitation and formed the galaxies of the present day universe. In the solar system of the Milky Way galaxy, Earth was supposed to have formed about 4.5 billion years back. There was no atmosphere on early Earth. Water vapor, methane, carbon dioxide, and ammonia released from the molten mass covered the surface of the Earth. The UV rays from the sun broke up the water into hydrogen and oxygen, and the lighter hydrogen is clear. Oxygen combined with ammonia and methane to form water and carbon dioxide and others. The ozone layer was formed. As it cooled, the water vapor fell as rain to fill in the depressions and form oceans. Life appeared 500 million years ago after the formation of Earth, almost 4 billion years back. Did life come from outer space? Some scientists believe that it came from outside. Early Greek thinkers tells that life comes from outside. Okay. So basically, early Greek thinkers thought that units of life are called spores which are transferred to different planets, including Earth. Panspermia is still a favorite idea for some astronomers. Next, we have that panspermia, which is still a favorite idea for some astronomers. For a long time, it was also believed that life came out of dead and decaying, rotting matter like mud and straw. So basically, it's the whole theory of evolution is given here, and if we see then the whole theory of evolution, the evolutionary biology is nothing but it is a study of history of life forms on Earth. Now, stellar distances are measured in light years. The Big Bang explosion, which is a very huge explosion, a singular huge explosion, which resulted in the origin of universe and which eventually led to the origin of Earth. Okay, so the origin of universe took place 20 billion years ago, and our Earth was formed 4.5 billion years ago. Then the origin of universe feature is comprising clusters of galaxies, stars, clouds of gases and dust, and Earth is formed occurring in the solar system of Milky Way galaxy. Events after expansion of universe. The temperature decline, hydrogen and helium were formed, gases condensed, galaxies formed. Hypothesis for the origin of life on Earth was given. No atmosphere existed on early Earth. Water vapors, methane, carbon dioxide, and ammonia released from molten mass covered the surface of the Earth. H2O2, in the presence of UV radiations, form H2 plus O2. NH3 and CH4, when they were reacted with oxygen, they form carbon dioxide and water and other contents. 1000 million years ago is equals to 1 billion years ago, which is roughly, if we take 500 million years ago, which is equals to 0.5 billion years ago. Okay, so basically what is written in the NCERT में कुछ नहीं लिखा है कि एवोल्यूशनरी बायोलॉजी क्या होता है, स्टडी ऑफ हिस्ट्री ऑफ लाइफ ऑन अर्थ. जब हम एवोल्यूशनरी बायोलॉजी को पढ़ते हैं तो हम अपने हिस्ट्री के बारे में पढ़ते हैं ऑन द लाइफ ऑफ अर्थ. स्टेलर डिस्टेंस इज मेजर्ड होते हैं लाइट ईयर्स में. यूनिवर्स 20 बिलियन ईयर्स ओल्ड है, जो कि काफ़ी बड़ा है और काफ़ी पुराना है. द बिग बैंग The Big Bang explosion was the theory attempting to explain the origin of universe. Universe expanded, temperature decreased, hydrogen helium formed. The theory of biogenesis given by Louis Pasteur, it states that life comes from pre-existing life. Oparin and Haldane hypothesis of chemical evolution given by Miller in 1953. Earth was formed 4.5 billion years ago. Water vapor, methane, ammonia, and everything was released from the molten mass covering the surface. UV radiations consisting of H2 and O2. O2 plus NH3 plus CH4 water बन गया था. मतलब basically combinations हुआ था. Life appeared around 500 million years ago. Earth, which is roughly 4 billion years ago. Cosmozoid panspermia. Early Greek thinkers, astronomers, life came from outer space. Units of life called spores were transferred to different planets, including Earth. Life came from dead and decaying matter. This proved by Louis Pasteur spontaneous generation. So first non-cellular form of life came 3 billion years ago. तो हमने अभी तक क्या पढ़ा कि हमने पढ़ा कि एवोल्यूशनरी बायोलॉजी क्या होता है, स्टडी ऑफ हिस्ट्री ऑफ लाइफ फॉर्म्स ऑन अर्थ. स्टेलर डिस्टेंसेस लाइट ईयर में मेजर होते हैं. बिग बैंग एक्सप्लोजन एक सिंगल ह्यूज एक्सप्लोजन है जो कि रिजल्ट किया था ओरिजिन ऑफ यूनिवर्स में रफली 20 बिलियन ईयर्स अगो. फीचर्स क्या था, कंप्राइजिंग द क्लस्टर्स ऑफ गैलेक्सी, स्टार्स, क्लाउड्स ऑफ gas and dust. Origin of Earth, which was roughly 4.5 billion years ago, occurred in the solar system of Milky Way galaxy. Events after expansion of universe, temperature decline हुआ था, हाइड्रोजन एंड हीलियम फॉर्म था, गैसेस कंडेंस हो गए थे, गैलेक्सीज फॉर्म हुए थे. Hypothesis for the origin of life on early Earth. No atmosphere existed on early Earth. Water vapor, methane, carbon dioxide, ammonia were released from molten mass which covered the surface of the Earth. H2O2 का breakdown हुआ था H2 प्लस O2 में. ठीक है, उसके बाद है हमारा ये जो है 1000 मिलियन ईयर्स अगो विच इज इक्वल्स टू 1 बिलियन ईयर्स अगो. नेक्स्ट वी हैव ओरिजिन ऑफ लाइफ. लाइफ कैसे ओरिजिनेट हुआ था? लाइफ अपीयर रफली 500 मिलियन ईयर्स आफ्टर द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ अर्थ, रफली 4 बिलियन ईयर्स. First non-cellular form of life probably originated 3 billion years ago. So first of all, life originated 500 million years ago after the formation of Earth almost 4 billion years ago. First non-cellular form of life originated probably 3 billion years ago. It have possibly originated from giant molecules like RNA, proteins. These capsules reproduce the molecules. First cellular form of life roughly 2 billion years ago arose from the aquatic environment. Okay, so पहला नॉन सेलुलर फॉर्म ऑफ लाइफ 3 बिलियन ईयर्स था. 3 बिलियन ईयर्स अगो नॉन सेलुलर फॉर्म ऑफ लाइफ था और सेलुलर फॉर्म ऑफ लाइफ 2 बिलियन ईयर्स था. This version of biogenesis states that the first form of life arose slowly through evolutionary forces. This version of biogenesis, that is, the first form of life arose slowly through evolutionary forces which is from non-living molecules, is accepted by majority. This version of biogenesis, that is the first form of life arose slowly through evolutionary forces from non-living molecules, is accepted by majority. The theory of special creation The theory of special creation. This version of biogenesis, that is the first form of life, arose slowly through evolutionary forces from non-living molecules, is accepted by majority. Special creation, the conventional religious literature. All living organisms that we see today were created, and diversity is ever since the same, and creation will be the same in future. Earth is 4000 years old. This was the special creation. Okay. Next, we have cosmozoic panspermia. Early Greek thinkers, astronomers, Richter held most told that life came from outer space. Units of life called spores were transferred to different planets, including Earth. Spontaneous generation. Life came from dead and decaying and rotting matter like straw, mud, etc. Disapproved the Louis Pasteur theory. Theory of biogenesis by Louis Pasteur. Life came from only pre-existing life, omnis vivum ex vivum. He showed that in pre-sterilized fast, life did not come from killed yeast Swanneck experiment or Parent-Halden hypothesis of chemical evolution. Formation of life was preceded by chemical evolution and formation of diverse organic molecule from inorganic constituent. First form of life could have possibly come from pre-existing non-living organic molecule like RNA or protein. This hypothesis was proved by Miller experiment in 1953. S.L. Miller, American scientist. In similar experiment, others observed the formation of sugars, nitrogenous bases, and pigments of fats. Abiogenesis first and then biogenesis ever since given by Oparin. Evidences of evolution, paleontological, embryological evidence, morphological and anatomical evidence. Paleontological evidence, fossils are the remains of hard part of life forms found in rocks. Age of fossils is determined by radioactive dating method. Fossils of different life forms is different due to the presence of sedimentary layers which indicate the geological period in which they existed, epochs or periods. Embryological evidence is proposed by Ernest Haeckel, biogenetic law. Ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny. It was disproved by Carl Ernst von Baer. He noted that the embryo never passed through the adult stage of other animals. Morphological and anatomical evidences. Homologous organs, common ancestry, yes. Analogous organ, no common ancestry. Anatomical structure of homologous organs similar but developed along different directions due to the adaptations or different needs. Next, we have analogous organ, not similar anatomical structure, but they have grown in selection of a similar adaptive features in different groups of organisms, thus evolving for the same function. Function performed in homologous different divergent type of evolution. Analogous function performed is similar convergent evolution. Analogous different origin same function. Homologous same origin different function. So analogous shows convergent evolution, homologous shows divergent evolution. Homologous organs like thorns of bougainvillea and tendril of cucurbita, forelimbs of vertebrata, vertebrata hearts, vertebrata veins. Analogous organs lemur, bobcat, numbat, anteater, spoofed cucus, anteater, Tasmanian tiger cat, wings of butterfly and birds, eyes of octopus and mammals, flippers of penguins and dolphins, and sweet potato, root modification and potato, stem modification. Molecular homology is similar in proteins and genes performing a given function among diverse organisms indicating common ancestry. Same shared ancestry as structural similarities among diverse organisms. Adaptive radiation, the process of evolution of different species in a given geographical area, starting from a point and literally radiating out to other areas of geography, habitats. Example of divergent evolution. Adaptive convergence, when more than one adaptive radiation appear to have occurred in an isolated geographical area representing different habitats. We call them adaptive convergence. An example of adaptive convergent evolution. Biological evolution, metabolic capabilities of different cellular forms of life under the contributed biological evolution. Rate of evolution is inversely proportional to lifespan. Rate of appearance of new forms. Lamarck's theory of evolution. Two main postulates: use and disuse of organ, inheritance of the acquired characters. Darwin's theory of evolution. Branching descent or descent with modification. Natural selection. Survival of the fittest. Reproductive fitness is the end result. Is the ability to adapt and get selected by nature. Influence of Thomas Malthus on Darwinism. S-shaped exponential growth, J-shaped curve, limited resources, population size increases exponentially, limited resources, population becomes stable, and nature keeps a check on the growing population. Darwin's postulate. According to Darwin, variations are small and directional, and evolution for Darwin and it's a gradual process. Weakness of Darwinism was that he was unable to explain the origin of variations, could not explain speciation, ignored work of Mendel. All variations are pre-adaptive. Genetic drift is a chance event through which frequency of a population changes. Founder effect, adaptive radiation is an example of founder effect, bottleneck effect. And genetic drift occurs in an isolated population. Habit fragmentation and genetic drift may The habit fragmentation and genetic drift may accentuate or concentrate variations leading to speciation. Mutation theory given by Hugo de Vries in first decade of 20th century worked on evening primers. New species originate as a result of mutation with a single step large mutation or directionless variation arising suddenly in a population. Alfred Wallace, a naturalist who worked in Malay archipelago, has also come to similar conclusion as Charles Darwin around the same time. Evolution is not a directed process in the sense of determinism. It is a stochastic process based on chance event in nature and chance mutation in the organism. Artificial selection by intensive breeding program man has created breeds that differ from other breeds. Example dogs. Example of evolution by human action or anthropogenic action. Antibiotic resistant microbes, pesticide resistant varieties. The case of industrial melanism. Classical example of natural selection among variants in moth population observed in England. Herbicide resistant varieties. Parameters before industrialization: tree trunks white covered by lichens, white moths more, melanized moths less. Their predators feed on the melanized moth. After industrialization, 1920s became dark due to the reposition of soothed smoke, less white moths, more melanized moths because predators feed on white moth. Lichens do not grow in polluted areas, indicator of pollution. Agent of natural selection, the predator or the bird. Moths that were able to camouflage themselves or hide in the background were surviving, but no variant was completely wiped out. First life appeared around 4 billion years ago. Non-cellular life 3 billion years ago. Cellular form of life 2 billion years ago. Invertebrates 500 million years ago. Jawless fish 350 million years ago. Plants and seaweed 320. First life 4 billion years ago. First non-cellular form of life, which is around 3 billion years ago. Cellular form 2 billion years ago. Invertebrates, which is 500 million years ago. Jawless fish 350 million years ago. And seaweeds and plants 320 million years ago. Lobed finfish, coelacanths, possibly evolved into amphibians, frogs, salamanders, aquatic and land. Possibly evolved into reptiles, lay thick-shelled eggs which not dry in the sun. Mammals arose from ancestral extinct reptiles, oviviparous, protecting the young ones inside the mothers. More intelligent in sensing and avoiding danger. Lobed finfish, primary aquatic. In 1938, fish caught in South Africa was earlier thought to be extinct. The reptiles, land reptiles, were dinosaurs which disappeared 65 million years ago. Probable reasons: climatic change, evolved in birds. Some land reptiles swim back to water to evolve into fish-like reptiles. Ichthyosaurus 200 million years ago. Modern day descents of reptiles, example turtles, tortoise, crocodiles. A likely reason is restricted distribution of pouched mammals in Australia is continental drift. When South America joined North America, these animals were overridden by North American fauna due to the same continental drift. Pouched mammals of Australia survived because of lack of competition from any other mammals. The first mammals were like shrews, whales, dolphins, seals, and sea cows are mammals. At present, we have Phaeozoic eon, Cenozoic era, Quaternary period, epoch, which is Holocenic. Devonian is the age of fishes. Carboniferous is the age of amphibians. Mesozoic age of reptiles. Jurassic age of cycads. Triassic first dinosaurs. Cretaceous extension of dinosaurs. Cenozoic age of mammals. The Hardy-Wimber principle: allele frequency in a population is stable and is constant from generation to generation. This is called genetic equilibrium. The gene pool, total gene and the alleles in a population remain constant. Sum total of allelic frequency is 1 and represented as Q. P plus Q is equal to 1, where P is frequency of dominant allele, Q is for recessive allele. P square plus Q square is equal to P square plus Q square plus 2PQ is equal to 1. When frequency measure differs from expected values, the differences indicates the extent of evolutionary changes or distribution in genetic equilibrium. Next comes factors affecting Hardy-Wimber equilibrium. Gene migration. When gene migration occurs multiple times, it is called as a gene flow. Genetic recombination, mutation, genetic drift, natural selection. Hardy-Wimber principle holds true for large population, random mating, no gene migration, no gene flow, no genetic drift, and no natural selection. Next, we have that the giant prawns like pteridophytes were present 200 million years ago, but they all fell from coal deposits slowly. Origin of the monocotyledons is more recent than dicotyledons. Dinosaurs, Triceratops, three-horned dinosaurs with body frill around the back of its head. Stegosaurus, large triangular bony plates along the back and spiked tail. Tyrannosaurus rex, 20 feet in height, had dagger-like teeth. Brachiosaurus, long giraffe-like neck, long forelimbs. Petrodon were possibly flying reptiles. Archaeopteryx is a transitional fossil between non-avian dinosaurs and birds. Brachiosaurus and Tyrannosaurus arose separately, most likely from a common ancestor. Origin and evolution of a man. So the first is Dryopithecus, 15 million years ago, ape-like, ate fruits, walked like gorilla and chimpanzee. Old world monkey, more closer to humans. Apes, chimpanzees closest to humans. Ramapithecus, 15 million years ago, more like man, ate hard nuts and seeds, walked like gorilla and chimpanzee. 3 to 4 million years ago, man-like primates with hominid features were found. Discovered in Ethiopia and Tanzania. 4 feet in height. Australopithecus, first ape-like man, first erect man, showed bipedal locomotion. Hunted with stone weapons for protection. Lived in East Africa. Ate fruits. Brain capacity 500 cc. Homo habilis, 2 million years ago. First human being like hominids. Brain capacity 650 to 800 cc. Probably did not eat meat. Homo erectus, 1.5 million years ago. Fossil discovered in Java in 1891. Brain capacity 900 cc. Probably ate meat. Homo sapiens, 7,000 or 75,000 to 10,000 million years ago, arose in Africa and moved across continents, developed into distinct races. Brain capacity 1300 to 1400 cc. Neanderthal man, which is living near East and Central Asia, brain capacity 1400 cc, used to hide to protect the body, cared for sick and old, wounded, and buried for the dead one. Cro-Magnon man, fossil found in France, cave painting, brain capacity 1650 cc. So we are done with the chapter. Bye everyone.